I spent a whole year logging every single thing I did in my self-improvement app made for gamers called Life Game Design. And now my 27th birthday has just been passed, and I want to reflect on everything that I've done and all the things that I've experienced throughout. This isn't just a brag on how many amazing things I've done. I'm going to show you what I watched, what I experienced. I'm going to show you a lot of the things that I'm embarrassed about and everything in between. The first thing that I want to do is see what I was doing last year in July. So I had my first jury service and I started reading a whole bunch of books because I worked at a job where I was extremely overqualified. I was a professional chef and then I went to work at a burger shop because I wanted to have a job that would allow me the flexibility to work on life game design as much as I could. So I was only working about 3 days a week at that time. And so the coolest thing about the job and the owner himself is that everyone was allowed to wear headphones while we worked. Again, because I was very overqualified and I knew how to do everything very efficiently, I could read audiobooks. Through that, I got to just listening to so many different books that I was just interested in general. Like over here, The Lean Startup by Eric Rice, that teaches you the principle of starting a business like startups do. Getting Things Done by David Allen, a very classic productivity book. Deep Work as well. And then when I come into here, I had a skydive with Derek. This was actually to celebrate my 26th birthday that I had last year. And what did I do this year? I decided to buy some house plants that you can see in this little thing, and I went for a walk at the lake. Things have changed a lot. And so, yeah, I'm just going to go a bit more into it and just kind of pick out what really calls to me. This book here, Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, I actually have in the background over here. This book is amazing, but what it lacked was systems, because what it lacked was digitized systems. Because if you can see in the book, they have a bunch of diagrams that you can use and exercises to do that can help you design your life. But what I learned from, trying to find self-improvement systems to use myself is that no one had applied one gamification to a self-improvement system that wasn't just like cringe. I had this thing called cringification. You'll see it in my other videos, but this is not what life game design is about. It's not about like trying to find like what does like health or like stamina mean in life and all this stupid things like that. No. We want to figure out how to use game design elements to build a fulfilling life and rethink what gamification is in the first place. Anyways, once I read that book, I was like, God damn, this is so good. Like, it's not just telling you to design a life that's just built on external and material success. It's telling you to design a life that you can be proud of when you're by yourself and all you have is yourself. I went through the process of finding a way to understand how to, understand, organize, and optimize every area of my life and design it as if it were a game. So I could take the same passion that I had for, pouring my effort and time and energy into building characters up in a game and just apply that to my own life. And this is the result of me doing that for a whole year. Over here, I finished some coaching I got from an online fitness coach, and that was insanely wild. Like the amount of stress and pain that I had to go through from the gym. And it's because I hit like a plateau in my training because I knew I wasn't training hard enough. And then I realized, if I keep doing the same thing, I'm going to get the same results. So I need someone who's better than me. And this guy is like my absolute fitness goals, like unrealistic because I don't have the time to achieve that at the moment. But yeah, I was like, dude, I want to look like this guy. And so during that time, I did things at the gym that I could never imagine that I could have before. People who have been lifting for half the time as me are twice as big as me. Again, this is not a brag. I find myself as someone who doesn't have talent. So I have to build frameworks for me just to get to the same level as normal people do. And this is what ends up happening, I guess. So yeah, once I finished that, it was pretty insane. Some pretty big things that happened. I read this book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and it helped me understand what's called the parent-child relationship with yourself. Basically, the easiest way to think of mental health without all of these like weird euphemisms and like spiritual goofiness and like all this complicated neuroscience and blah, blah, blah. If you just think of your mental health, like the relationship you have with yourself as a parent and a child, and you literally either very metaphorically or very literally view it from that lens, everything becomes easy in how you view it. So the easiest way to understand that is something like discipline. So what is discipline? Why does my mind fight against itself and thinks and terms of like, oh, I want to have this cookie. It's bad for me. I know I shouldn't do it, but something in my mind is telling me I should eat that compulsively and almost addictively. And think of how a child compulsively does these things. And then the parent has to, discipline the child to say, no, we're not having that because I'm thinking about your long term health, where you're thinking about your short term dopamine spike, basically. This goes so much deeper than you can even imagine. And by doing that, I actually helped a lot of my friends with a lot of difficult mental health problems. Not like mental health problems, but like difficult situations, really. And myself. And it's something that I still use to this day. I do want to do like a full video kind of explaining how that works. Throughout the months, I just, read so many more books, watched some more movies. I wanted to do like a kind of like a childhood thing. We always watched Lord of the Rings and Star Wars with my parents as kids, and we were moving house. So I was thinking, oh my God, if I, don't create memories with my parents before I may end up, you know, uh, being away from them for a long time, I'll like totally regret it. What's like the last thing I did with my parents? Like nothing. So that's something that I always remember in terms of my childhood memories. So we did that, and it was super cool. It was super cool. I reread some books like Atomic Habits, uh, and there was this song that really stuck out to me. This is around the end of the year. It's called "Your Head" by Survive Said the Prophet, and the lyrics in it kind of just describe how my life was going at the moment. Also, I did my first 3-day fast over here because I had carpal tunnel syndrome. And basically, what that is at random times of the day, mostly at night, your hands will go like numb with like pins and needles. And it's generally because like a overexertion at the gym. By the end of that training I did with that coach, I really like overexerted myself and ended up having carpal tunnel for 6 months, and it was painful because I got to the point where I couldn't help but go to the gym, because if I didn't go to the gym, I didn't feel accomplished or satisfied, and I tied a lot of my self-worth to it. And now I was forced to rest from that, and I found it so hard to battle with accepting that all I have to do is rest, while understanding that my self-worth was tied to the feeling of accomplishment from lifting. Basically, the healing of it was like up and down and up and down. I would make a lot of progress, and then I'd go back to the gym. I thought it was all okay, and then it would get worse, and I just go through the cycle. And it was probably some of the most horrible months. Around this time, while I was trying to get all this information on how to build life game design, I wasn't working on it enough because I didn't really know how to build in Notion well, and how to do so much in Notion, honestly, and how to organize. Like, I developed this thing called the mini games, which is a guided self-improvement system that takes you through 4 main stages of self-development that work as like a gameplay loop for life. That's something I didn't even know how to create back then. So I went through about 10 to 12 iterations of this app, and it was a struggle because it looked terrible back then. I think I just have a lot of compassion for me in the past, who had to go through this and had no idea whether it would amount to anything, even to this day. And that's a difficult road, because I literally, one, have to have faith, or two, have to be delusional and think that I can make something out of this, where I'm getting these very tiny pinpricks of proof that it is working, like how my friends react to it, how some random guy on the internet gives me a call and it's like, dude, this is exactly what I've been looking for. Like, and I'm just like, is that just some random dude on the internet, or is this going to be a movement? Like, there's no way to tell. And so something that I started to understand by what I was reading is that even though I'm a very, I guess, like hardcore atheist, I started to realize that faith is like this almost mandatory part of the human experience because evolutionarily, when you traveled to like a new country or something, you have no idea what's there. You just have to hope that things will be better. And so many circumstances were extremely dire back then. And so faith, belief, whatever religion was kind of like a mechanism to help people deal with the fact that there is so much uncertainty and so much pain to go through while you're going through that uncertainty that kind of helps you through that. And I still haven't 100% found what faith, belief, religion means to me yet, but I know that it's such an integral part of the human experience. I think that's the biggest lesson I learned back then. And so around the same time we moved to New Plymouth. I used to live in Auckland, New Zealand, and now I live in a smaller town called New Plymouth in New Zealand. That was a massive decision because I had to decide if I'm going to leave my job to pursue building SAP in the fullest extent. And at that time, it still looked horrible. I didn't know about the minigame system that I created. I had only recently finished the OctaCore framework that I'm going to talk more about soon. And things were completely up in the air. It was a pretty damn difficult time, I must say. It has been better than I could ever have imagined. I've realized and found out about myself that I don't like big cities, and I far more like nature. And I recently got into surfing, which I never did in Auckland, and that's a big thing because of the move. I got more into hiking. I went outside more. All these insane things, and so. But yeah, what you're seeing here is a month breakdown of everything between last year July and now in July. But now I'm going to show you what OctaCore is. OctaCore is these 8 areas of life that we can use to understand, organize, and optimize life itself. And they're based off of both the special system from Fallout, kind of like inspired by it with the names, but mainly inspired by the Infinity Stones by Marvel. So you've got strength, which is everything to do with your physical health, persistence, life admin, experience, everything to do with leisure, creativity, anything you do creatively, contribution, anything you do for work, intelligence, anything you do to learn, plan, or manage finance, attachments, which is like close relationships, family, romantic relationships, and inner circle friends, and life force, which is mental health and spirituality. The reason why I plant out all of this is because usually self-development systems tell you you have 3 areas of life: health, wealth, relationships. So it doesn't account for all the boring life admin stuff you need to log, that you need to manage. It doesn't account for all the entertainment that you have in your life. It doesn't account for understanding the separation between physical health and mental health. And so I built it like an attribute system for life, just like how games have attribute systems. And so by doing this, you can see where your focus is in all these different areas just by playing the game of managing your life. Just by me organizing my life, I end up with this throughout the year. And I get to reflect on it and I get to see what it tells me about who I am at the end. And so, yeah, if I can see like all the difference in distribution is what I call, like how there's like gaps here and there's like really full here too. This is what I call OctaCore distribution. And this is a big thing that I reflect on all the time, every week. So I can see like, okay, what's kind of like happening in my life right now. Yeah, if I look at it, the more I log, the more I can be proud of. So I think at the start of the year, I had a lot less. And then I began to put more and more. So like every podcast that I listened to, every time that I would make some adjustments to the app, every time I went out for a surf, meal prep, mowing the lawn, all these things. Then PRs in the gym, starting to get into running, like all these things. You can see I've got so much more now, so much more to be proud of. Kind of just reflecting on that, I realized that what I need to focus on in life are just a few areas that are kind of, it's like the kind of 80-20 rule of these life areas, because all of these areas matter, but individually to all of us, here's the thing with self-improvement in general. It's broken because these gurus will tell you how to live your life because they're marketing for a very specific kind of person and they know inside out what their fears and insecurities and all those things are, blah, blah, blah. If we're really trying to provide a self improvement system that can help anyone, that means that we need to tie it not into some like ideology I have about life, but in terms of the nature of life in general. What are we trying to do in life? We're trying to find fulfillment. Everyone is, and everyone does that in different ways. And so these areas of life are based on all the things that you can do that you both need to do and that are fulfilling. That's kind of how you use OctaCore. I've got a fully in-depth video on that. What I'm going to do is just go through my highlights. That's in another tab up here. So this view over here, Diamond and Gold, is literally just a month breakdown of the most fulfilling things that happened in each month. And so, yeah, in July, it was the jury service. Over here, Demon Slayer, the third season. Crazy. I got so much hype. I got so much hype from this, and I used it in the gym and made some mad PRs with it. We had the skydive with Derek, and yeah, these were some really really key books that stood out to me. The Way of the Superior Man by David Data and Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I talked about the coaching, but I also built a deep connection with Mum, just through some conversations that we had. I'll kind of leave that there. In Mandalorian, I watched that again. That was like I love that series, and I slept on it for so long, because it came out way before then, but I just slept on it. Around the same time again, like how I mentioned, healing the carpal tunnel was such an insane thing. And a big book that really helped that was You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Again, if you know, you know, read, go listen to both the Modern Wisdom and Diary of a CEO podcasts on his things, because if you look into it by itself, it just sounds like ridiculous. What else did I get to? Oh, you got that's my end physique over there of getting to probably like the leanest I've ever been, 69 kg. I usually sit at around 75 and above normally. And so, yeah, around then that was a mad push. I also had this experience of sitting in the mud. Simon Sinek in the Diary of a CEO mentioned this about how when your friend has a problem, it's not necessarily that you have to fix things straight away. Sometimes you just need to, quote unquote, sit in the mud with them, not just feel like some broken thing that needs to be fixed, you know? They're a human. And so, yeah, I had that experience with someone, and it was, yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Ever since then, we've grown like seriously close in terms of our friendship, because we both share a lot more about small and big difficult things that we go through. I read this book called Attached by Emil Levine, and attachment is the part of OctaCore that has to do with close relationships. And that book changed everything about what I thought about both relationships and how I approach them. I've had 2 panic attacks in my life. The first one was at the peak of my career as a professional chef at Sky City in one of the busiest restaurants in Auckland. And the second was literally after finishing reading that book. That was the time where I had to go to my friend and he had to sit in the mud with me. I had no idea what was going on until he helped me self-reflect on it. After reading that book, I realized all the flaws I had in all the previous relationships that I had, and it smacked me in the face. And that was really hard to deal with. So he helped me tremendously with that. Yeah, this was around the time where I had the MVP done of Life Game Design, the alpha build that looked disgusting. It looked so bad. And so, yeah, I finished that. I say that, but I'm really proud of how I ended up there in the first place. And I also finished Invisalign. Yeah, you can't see it, but I had very slightly crooked teeth, and because of the nature of like wanting to be on YouTube and talk, like it always distracted me when I would like look at it in the camera, and I was quite insecure about it. So I spent quite a bit of money to fix it, and honestly, like after it was done, it was so nice just to not have to worry about it anymore. Going down the list, there were a few books that really stood out that I read in November. Essentialism by Greg McEwen, which kind of melds into the OctaCore framework. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, and $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. These were some really cool things. And around that time, Um, there was one of my really close friends now, Eden. I met him at the gym from a mutual friend, and yeah, another relationship, friendship that's grown so much because we both shared a lot of stuff together. And around this time, Lachlan, nerding out on life game design, Lachlan's my friend who designed the logo that I have. And he started using life game design for his own stuff. And he was like, dude, this is so cool. Like, he was showing me like how he set up his creativity page in OctaCore, how he's managing like how he makes his music and his art and all this stuff. And I was like, this is the first time I'm actually seeing someone else use life game design, and it's not me. And he's like, he's making moves because of it. I'm like, it taught me that like, okay, this can work. This can work. And it let me have the grace to believe in myself. And I was just so excited to see someone else use the same thing, be on the same vibe. In December in 2023, that's kind of around the time where we finally moved our house. And I started doing end of year podcasts with my friends. So, yeah, shit, there was a lot of stuff that happened. I rewatched The Matrix for the first time. I never watched The Matrix. I slept on that for so long in my life. It was so epic. And the first time I did surfing in like 11 years with my dad. My dad he's been a surfer for so long. And it's kind of sad that I could never share that experience with him. But yeah, I tried it once we moved down to New Plymouth, and I loved it so much. And now I'm getting pretty decent. I can say I'm getting pretty decent, and I'm like enjoying it so much. And then something that I've been wanting to do, like spend time with my dad, in a different way than like games or movies, you know. And now that's finally something that we can do together. And yeah, it just really makes me happy. Probably like one of the biggest benefits of moving down to New Plymouth, because I never did that in Auckland, and I don't think I could have, because surfing in Auckland at Piha is really rough. Yeah, around that same time, we had the Indie Via podcast. So I started a podcast on this channel called the Life Game Design Podcast. And basically, I do exactly what I'm doing now with a whole bunch of my friends. And I teach them about all these different areas of life that you can find fulfillment in, and ask them the achievements that they made. And that's these over here that I did more towards January, but we did like a year reflection. So I came back up to Auckland and did a whole bunch of stuff. My sister and my brother-in-law visited us in Auckland, and we did that too. That was insane. And yeah, this it's a YouTube documentary called Project Iceman. It was mad hype. Just go watch it. Just go watch it. I finished the Black Clover series. I slept on it for ages, but I absolutely loved it. Yeah, you can see that I went through a lot of arcs really quickly. And yeah, I finished the interview friends podcasting, and I got this hat from Derek, uh, my friend who I talked about the whole like sitting in the mud thing. And I wear this thing every day at the gym. It says "Seek Discomfort," and it's related to the Project Iceman, because this is by Yes Theory. It's a brand by Yes Theory called Seek Discomfort, and the whole point is do what hurts because it will come anyway, and you need to push through it. Yeah, every time at the gym, I look in the mirror, I look at this message in the hat, I'm like, just do it, man. And it's helped ever since. I really love these kind of like sentimental gifts that I get from my friends. They really mean a lot to me. Started watching Blue Lock. I had like one of the best surfs of my life, and I went to hike up this beautiful view in Mount Taranaki over here. And it's this view where you could get to see a lake in the mountain just right next to it. That was honestly magical. But it's like a 2 hour hike straight up for like 3 hours. I'm doing it again soon with my partner now. And that's another big thing. During this whole time, I was single, and I've only started to be in a committed relationship in the last month or two now. Yeah, during all this time, I didn't realize how much of the work that I did on myself led up to me, one, being able to attract someone as amazing as who I'm dating now, and also be able to navigate a relationship like that. During this time, I was always thinking like I'm gonna be single until my like 30s or something. I'm gonna be single until I'm 35 or whatever, blah blah blah. Avatar Netflix came out. That was really cool. I had to catch up with my best friend in Japan, and over here, I almost missed it. The mini games. This is where I finally developed a system. I had my first full price sale of Life Game Design from, again, a random guy on the internet who found us, and he's like, dude, this is so awesome what you're doing. Like, he believed in it so much that he voted with his money. That was the first time anyone had paid full price for the app that wasn't fully complete yet. And I was just like, this is insane. My dad had his 65th birthday in April. And I started to heal my shoulder. After the tendonitis thing, I got a shoulder injury after. So again, like during this whole time, I'm pretty much out of the gym mostly. So I'm trying to find other things to do with my life that aren't the gym. And yeah, it was hard, but I was making progress. I went to go visit my friends, my best friend Derek, who came from Japan. He came to visit for the first time, and so we went to spend some time up there. It was really cool. And now we're going into May, June, and July to wrap it up. And so in May, in terms of like the gold and diamond achievements, these are mainly gold. I can't actually see any diamond here. Um, so it was a bit of a quiet week. I just had to like put my head down. I was doing some more surfing definitely, but I had to do put my head down and do more work on the app, and it wasn't like these are the only things that really made it into the gold tier. And that's fine. But yeah, there's these periods of life where it's like not every part of your life is like a highlight, and that's cool. Um, but one thing that was awesome was watching the League of Legends finals again. Because I love the game, but I hate to play it. So watching it's really cool. And then yeah, around this time, just in June, I think in June is when I truly decided to start the relationship with my partner. And then, yeah, this one over here that says deep gratitude for this period of my life is exactly what I felt. I just felt a deep gratitude for how life game design has turned out, how my relationships have turned out, how everything is doing. It's almost as if I don't deserve it. Yeah, that's difficult. But anyways, getting back to it, I finally launched the full tour of the app for free. Because I guess I forgot to mention this whole time that there's a free version of this app, and it's probably literally being humble. It's the best free Notion template on the internet. There's a free Notion course. It gives you everything to manage your projects and tasks. It has the mini games, like a self-development system that no other thing has. It has an achievement system that lets you do this as well. I finally released that after just like talking about, getting to the stage. I finally got there. Come back to now, I got some birthday money from my parents. And yeah, the difference between like going for a skydive on my 26th birthday to my 27th birthday, I just like had some food with my parents. We watched Star Wars and went for a walk at the lake and bought some plants that I really love. Like, man, this plant over here. This plant over here is so cool. I love it. Uh, so a lot has changed in my life, and I've changed as well. It's going to be a similar theme for 2025. So we'll see what happens, and I might make another video around there. But yeah, this was a reflection of everything that happened in the last year. An honest reflection on my 27th birthday that has just passed yesterday, July the 5th. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you can do something similar. I hope that you don't have to use life game design, but you can find out more about yourself by using some system to help you understand, organize, and optimize life, and that you can get these same insights to help you understand instead of finding people to tell you how you're going to live a fulfilling life. You're going to design it for yourself. That is the whole premise of life game design. I can't tell you how to design a fulfilling life for yourself, but what I've done is built as many frameworks as I can to help people do that themselves. And so, yeah, that's it. I hope you live a life by design, and I'll see you in the next video.